Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Runestone. Today we're doing the top 10 Magic the Gathering Valor cards. So let's begin with number 10. At number 10 we got Valor of the Worthy from Kaldheim. It's a common, going for a whopping 2 cents on the market at this time. The reason why it's here, well, it's kind of cool. The Valor of the Worthy costs only 1 mana. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 when it leaves the battlefield. Create a 1/1 white spirit token with flying. So it's not destroy, it says leaves the battlefield, which I think is very impressive. This is why it's made the list, is because that alone is the ability. And there is no equipment, and that is the backside of it. But that's really cool. So let's move on to number 9. At number 9, we got Valor Made Real. Various sets, basically lots of sets. It's a common going for 10 cents. Well, it's a pretty cool picture. And can you see Valor Made Real 10 times fast? Basically, the card is target creature can block any number of target creatures this turn. So this would be very, very helpful if you're playing like a green-white combo deck, because generally green creatures can be like 8/8s, 10/10s, or whatever. So you put that out, block everything, boom, that clears out the system. Anyway, that's why it's at number 9. It's a very cool card. It's costs only 1 for this instance. So let's move on to number 8. And at number 8, we got Valor's Stance, which is from various cents. It's an uncommon going for 15 cents. Yes, it does say Valorous, but it is part of the Valor family, so this is why it's in the top 10. And the reason why here it is at number 8, well, it's actually costs 1 color and a white for this instance, so that's really cool. It's not a sorcery. And then you get 2 choices. You either get indestructible or destroy a creature with 4 or greater. It's simple as that. So that's really good. That's why it's at number 8, because you got the choice and it's an instant. So it's very powerful. So let's move on to number 7. At number 7, we got FIRGA, Judge of Valor from Kaldheim. It's an uncommon going for 10 cents on the market. This card is actually kind of powerful in the actual standard battles at the time of this video, because it costs, it's 5 mana for a 2/4, but it has Flying Lifelink. And whenever you cast a second spell each turn, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest in your graveyard, which is actually kind of a really cool combo, because typically that you would find that in the blue mana. So when you have the Flying Lifelink for 2 to 4, that you can really pump that up. You can really do some damage with it. This is why it's at number 7, because it's not the best Valor card, but it's actually a pretty good card in general. So let's move on to number 6. At number 6, we got Sigil of Valor from Magic Origins. It's an uncommon, going for 15 cents on the market. Actually, for Type 1 in decks, this actually I feel like would be valued more than 15 cents. But anyway, it says, whenever a equipped creature attacks alone, gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each other creature you control. Equip 1. Now, there's a lot of creatures that, especially the new standard, that if they attack alone, they can enter the dungeon alone, and then if you have this attached to it. So it'd be interesting. Maybe I should make a Type 1 deck to see how that goes. This is why it's here at I always say that, number 6. It's a very powerful card if you know how to use it. I like the Valor card. It's pretty cool. Again, it costs 2 mana for that equip one, so it's a really early game if you have a lot of 1/1s in play. Other than that, it's not going to help you in the long run. So let's move halfway down our list to number 5. At number 5, we got SIVVI'S Valor from Nemesis. It's a rare, going for only 26 cents. Back in the day, this was actually one of the most powerful white cards when it came out, believe it or not. So this Valor card says if you control planes, you may tap and untap creature control instead of paying its cost, which would be typical if you're playing white with this white card. All damage will be dealt to target creature this turn is dealt to you instead. Now, with so many combinations, again, as I always say with like so many cards, it could be used very powerful, and it's a very powerful Valor card. But why would you tap the mana when most things would say you can redirect damage or prevent damage for a lot less mana? I don't know why this is a rare, especially nowadays, I guess. This card is not that powerful at all, but it is powerful enough to be at number 5. So let's just move on to number 4. Which we have is Valor in AKROS. It's from various sets. It's an uncommon for only going for 7 cents. So it costs 4 mana. At this point, it's not a very powerful card, but at number 4, it can be very if you're doing a lot of haste and melee creatures. Because it says when a creature enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. It does not say only once per turn or anything. This is, again, reason why it's at number 4 is because it basically can be unlimited, and with 4 mana and melee creatures, you can pump those creatures up really fast. And that's about it. So let's move on to number 3. Next we got is Archon of Valor's Reach from Commander 2020 or Battle Bond. There's a rare going for a whopping 26 cents. These Valor cards are not worth a lot in the real world. 26 cents, wow. But it costs 6 mana for this 5/6. The reason why here is at number 3, well, is the text. It has Flying, Vigilance, and Trample. Alright, that's very, very cool. Again, goes with the green-white, and it says, when it enters the battlefield, choose Artifact, Enchantment, Instant, Sorcery, or Planeswalker. Players can't cast spells of the chosen type. So that's really, really cool. It basically stops them from laying, like a Wrath or any card at all that will hurt you. That's why it's at number 3, is because of those abilities. Even though it's very expensive, at that point you should be almost winning the game practically. So let's move on to number 2. And this is the ironic card, because we're doing the top 10 Valor, is number 2 is Valor. It's from Judgment or Time Spiral Time Shifted. It's an uncommon going for only 18 cents on the market. Well, this kind of was very powerful back in the day as well when Judgment first came out. So it costs 4 mana. It's an incarnation. It costs 2/2. So this is a first strike. So as long as it's in your graveyard and you control the planes, which is pretty obvious if you're playing with this card, creatures you control have first strike. So basically, you put them into play. You want to put them in your graveyard. As long as the opponent doesn't have graveyard removal, you want this card in your graveyard. This is why it's very, very powerful, I believe, because of it giving everything creatures first strike, which can turn the tide in a war. But there's one better card. So let's move on to number 1. I know you guys might not agree with me on this number 1, but we got Valorous Charge from Portal. That's right. Back in the day, Portal was actually able to be used in standard decks. It was a rule that's saying you can, and it's an uncommon going for 19 cents in the market. I think this is cool. Being more powerful is an instant, but it costs 3 mana. It says all white creatures get +2/+0. It has those little symbols in it too, which is really cool until end of turn. But this includes other players' white's creatures, so it can be quite useless, but also very, very powerful. Again, I say this constantly, with the right combination, this Valorous Charge can be very powerful with melee creatures, therefore turning the tide by turn 3, winning the game. So that's about it, and I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I hope you have a good day and a good evening.